Hello, and welcome back to another episode of L0rd B00my's Music Reviews. I am L0rd B00my, and before we get started today, I just wanted to mention something. I know that the videos can get a bit long, and I've kind of come up with a solution to that. I recently, when the Ethereal UK video got posted, I also posted I made a poll to see if you guys would rather me split these into two parts if they get a bit lengthy, or if you just want them like the whole experience of through and through the whole album in one video. And that's posted over on my community tab. So if you guys could go vote on that, that would be very helpful and would give me some insight that I need to adjust these videos. So yeah, go do that. And when you come back, we're going to be focusing on Simulation by KNIVESOUT. Now, this is one of a couple bands that Dylan Scharninghouse has created. He's got this one, then there's Dark Mana. There's also King Tarkus, I believe, is the third one. A lot of them kind of focus on a kind of like psychedelic sound in a sense. KNIVESOUT was very full throttle into that. King Tarkus usually kind of focuses on like more rocky elements as far as the psychedelic genre goes, and then Dark Mana usually focuses on the electronic aspect of all that. Regardless, though, KNIVESOUT was, to my knowledge, his first band that he made. So this is like not only just like a debut album. Actually, I don't even think this is a debut album. I think in my review earlier, I mentioned that there was like some project before this that was like, about the same length and same concept and everything. So this isn't the debut for KNIVESOUT, but this is one of the earlier albums from KNIVESOUT. And this is the one I specifically reviewed back in 2021. Simulation is KNIVESOUT's longest EP as of February 12th, 2021. I would refer to this as his first album, but unfortunately the duration falls in that weird 20-minute spot where you can't exactly tell if it's an album or an EP. Regardless, this EP is definitely a passionate project of sorts. KNIVESOUT has even taken it upon himself to produce a visual album to go alongside this release, and we will be, that is actually the version that we'll be watching today. I've got the YouTube video pulled up and everything. We're not going to be doing Spotify. It's going to be visual stuff today, so that's kind of cool too. The progression starts off fairly well in this. However, a lot of the instrumentals only use a handful of loops at times, and some of the loops make the EP seem repetitive after a while. System Reboot is a pretty decent example of this and is where the album starts to drag, in my opinion. There are no lyrics to talk about with this one, but I am going to touch on track titles. Based off those and the EP's name, it seems as if KNIVESOUT is trying to get us to ponder alongside these tracks. The track titles seem to be referring to a rebirth process, while the EP title seems to be referring to reality itself, or the simulation, if you will. Again, no vocals to touch on, but the sounds here are pretty amazing once you get past the repetition. They all seem to carry this floaty, computerized, lo-fi type of vibe, and it matches up very well with the EP's theme. I'm not sure if KNIVESOUT makes his own loops, but even if he is using loop packs, this is pretty impressive, especially after you remember that there's a visual version of this EP. In summary, this is an existential EP that you'd probably throw on if you needed something to help you crack the code of life itself. Now, see, this is what I was talking about in like some of the earlier videos where I'm really kind of mad at this format that I used to use and everything. And like it shows right here and everything because like I said multiple times, because this album didn't have lyrics or like any kind of vocals to go alongside it, I basically had only half a review. Like that first two paragraphs is me talking about the actual album and how good it is. And then I go into, well, there aren't any lyrics, but here's some aspects that I pulled out of thin air that I can talk about right now instead. It's not coherent in my opinion. And again, the reasoning for doing all this is to kind of scrap the old reviews and to give them a better, cleaner experience for, what this is. Well, anyways, though, that's the review. We'll go ahead and get into the album now. The first track is going to be One Beginning. Okay, so I think that was the first song. It was really soft, really light. The visuals paired up with it did make it feel a bit more trippy, and especially like what the words were saying. You definitely got that existential vibe. I don't know if they really felt like they were saying all that much. It was just kind of like vague, and it's like, huh, have you ever thought before? And it wasn't bad by any means, but yeah, no, the words, the visuals weren't necessarily the most enticing. The song though itself, nice and soft. It works as a really good intro track. I don't know how engaging I want to say it was, because again, it was just very, very soft and quiet. So I don't know. Works for good build-up. Maybe it, is truly leading into the next track, Reality, and that's really its main purpose. So it didn't really need to do much more than what it did, Regardless, let's go ahead and continue with the second track, Reality. Okay, so yeah, no, it did lead into the next track pretty nicely. I mean, like I said, the first track was very soft and very subtle, but I think the fact that it ramps up into this next one kind of gives it some extra points in my head. And I know I didn't rate it like off the bat after I heard the first one, and that's because I wanted to hear this second track. So I think the first one, I would probably rate that about like a 6, maybe a 7 if I'm being generous. And this one right here, this is definitely a 7, I would say for sure. Like I said, the first track was just a little stale and didn't really engage the listener all that well. Although this one was much better. After you bear through that introduction track and get into this one, the spacey loops start to come through. You get some nice, synth sounds. The drum kit sounded a little off in the beginning, but then once everything kind of came together, it was way better. So it could just be something about like hearing a single sample from in the very beginning of this track just sounded weird to me or something. But yeah, no, solid 7 on that. The visuals are actually kind of getting a bit more enticing. I know I didn't say they were all that engaging in the first track, but it seems like each song, like the title of it, is going to be like the topic for what this visualizer is going to say to us while we're watching it, which is kind of neat. It does feel a little low effort in places. Like I can't really tell if these are just like looped GIFs with like effects on them. And then like I said about like the words themselves in the last track, it's a little bland. It's like, oh, have you ever wondered? And it's like, yes, I have. But it's very thought provoking and it does its job. So I'm not mad at it. Anyways, next track, I believe is, well, we gotta wait for it to change over. Glitch. Here we go. Thought it was over there for a second. Okay. Very interesting. I don't know if that last little loop was in the original song or not. I can't quite remember, and I don't feel like going back to SoundCloud to check. But that was definitely interesting. Anyways, I don't know if I would say I liked the overall song all that much because, like I said in my past review, it does feel a bit repetitive, and especially in this track right here, it's starting to feel repetitive for me now on this listen. Just something about that dun 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 dun, like that that synthy like bass, I don't really know, or kick, I don't really know what that is. But it gets a little repetitive in places, and after once you're like midway through, it feels like you've been listening to the same thing for like 2 minutes straight, and that's, I don't know, a little stale, but not too bad. I'd probably give that one a 6 out of 10 too. Let's go ahead and move on to the next track, System Failure, track 4. I also want to add, there wasn't a lot visually that last track either. It was just, again, it seemed like one single looped GIF the entire time. And I'm pretty sure it is a GIF at this point because if you were paying attention, it looked like there was a small bit of text in the lower left-hand corner of that GIF. That looked like it was just a watermark that was blurred out with an effect or something like that. So I do think this is kind of a low-effort visualizer, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's kind of cool, too, because not everyone puts out visualizers or music videos or, you know, supplement material with their music. So it's neat to see this, even if it is on the lower end of the spectrum, you know? Yeah, that was another one that felt kind of quick too. I didn't mind that one so much though. It was very soft, very soothing, and it kind of had a nice rhythm to it too. But sorry, I'm just looking at the timestamps here, seeing if it is as short as I thought it was. Well, no, maybe not. It looks like it was, you're about 10. No, that was about a minute and a half, I'd say, roughly. Right? Am I doing my math right? Or is that 3 whole minutes watching System Failure? Regardless, it felt short, and I think that's pretty good, actually. I think if the song feels short and it's a little longer than I even expected it to be, then yeah, no, that's pretty nice. I'll probably give that one a 7 out of 10, just because I liked the vibe of it. Something about it. It was making me think a song from like one of the stages of the Spyro soundtrack. I don't know. There's something really floaty and whimsical about it. That's where my mind went. Regardless, though, I liked it a lot. I think that was definitely another 7 out of 10 right there. And although that one did feel like a short track, it looks like System Reboot might be even shorter. It doesn't look like it lasts very long at all. It ends. System Reboot might be like an interlude, because it looks like it's only about a minute long. So let's go ahead and listen to this one. This is track 5. Okay, pretty cool. I kind of like that one. Again, pretty short, but it's got like these interesting, I don't know if I want to call them instruments or samples, but like they sound very choppy and robotic, and almost sounds like a computer like loading or like buffering, trying to, get the computer like rebooted, like, I don't know. That one was just a very well executed concept right there, because I think it did exactly what the title says it did. It felt like it was rebooting the album. I would probably give that one, we'll give it an 8 out of 10. I feel like that sounds about right. That feels right, at least. Yeah, 8 out of 10. Next song, Updating. Almost missed the track change. That one was really funky. I kind of liked that one. It was like it was kind of weird. It was like the melody was moving super fast, but this drum kit was still like just nice and steady, like a like a slow kind of like I don't know if I want to call it moody, but like it was just like a very slow drum pattern mixed with a very high energy melody, and it just made for an interesting result. I don't know if that if like the last track it preaches to the title at all. I don't know what an update sounds like. I know what it sounds like when a computer is trying to load, though, and it's like fucking cranking out its brains trying to execute, your 3 open tabs and Spotify in the background or whatever the hell. But yeah, no, not bad. I'd probably give that one another 7 out of 10. I can't be mad at it. And some of these GIFs too are really trippy. I will give it, even though this is kind of like a low effort kind of visualizer, it's actually decently trippy. And I think I was wrong about the text too. It doesn't seem like every portion of this visual album has the text that were present in the first couple tracks. I think it'll be interesting to see if that comes back and what it'll say. But yeah, I think my theory is kind of dead in the water on that one. Anyways, we are now moving on to the 7th track, Repairing. I think it's just called Repairing. Yeah, Repairing ... The couple dots threw me off, and I thought it was a longer title. Okay, I mean, not a bad track by any means. That was another nice and soft and subtle one. I'd probably rate the actual music like a 6 out of 10, but like, holy shit, that was a hard gift to have to watch. I'm not gonna lie. If you're gonna do stuff like that, you might want to consider like putting up an epileptic warning at the beginning of your video or something, because that one was intense. Holy shit. But yeah, no, not a bad song by any means. Again, it does feel a little repetitive because it doesn't feel like there's a lot going on per se, but it's good for what it is. I think we are on to the final track now. The final track is a bit of a lengthy one. It's going to be about 4 or 5 minutes long. So let's just go ahead and get this on with last track, Ending. Okay, well, that was a really oops. Before that goes into something else, that was actually a really interesting experience. I can't remember if I said this at the beginning of the video or not, but I didn't initially listen to this album here on YouTube. I think I originally listened to it on Spotify, and this album, along with a lot of other Knives Out's projects, are available on streaming services. I just, especially after reading my past review, I remembered that there was visual content for this too. I'm like, oh wow, well, we got to show that off, because even if this was a bit low effort, like I've been saying, this was still a very enjoyable experience. And I think this did kind of like build and tell a sort of story of sorts. And I think it actually added more to the album than what I had with my initial experience. So, I mean, maybe because of that, I might bump the album up to like an 8, but I honestly really think I gave this a fair score to begin with. I think the 7 out of 10 is more than worthy of this project. Or I guess this project is more than worthy of the 7 out of 10. I don't know. I might end up like adjusting it by a couple points depending on like which tracks I thought I liked more this time, because that's the thing. I think I did. Yeah, I had like 3 tracks on here out of the 8 that I liked. So there's a good chance it could get bumped up to like a 75, or like maybe bumped down to like a 71. It's not going to change dramatically, but it may still change. Regardless though, you guys go check out Knives Out. Go listen to his music. Go watch his YouTube videos. Dope creator. A lot of passion behind every project. And this is just one project of many of, that's 1 out of 3 bands at the same time. So like that's the thing about Dylan Charninghouse, man. This kid, he just constantly is creating music, and he's constantly creating concepts not just concepts, but like these trippy psychedelic concepts too, which can be a harder genre to wrap your mind around if you aren't doing it correctly. So yeah, no, I definitely tip my hat off to Dylan on this one. This was a pretty fun project to review. Anyways, that has been Simulation by Knives Out. If you guys enjoyed, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a like. Comment anything that you guys thought about this down below. There will be another poll being posted when this video goes live and everything, so you guys will be able to show off to everyone what you think the album is, and you can comment on that post too. You don't have to comment on this video. It's up to you. You can do what you want. It's the internet, baby. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and till next time, take it easy, guys.